that might be too much. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's see. Hope you guys are feeling good tonight. We finna drop some jewels on y'all. So go ahead, pour a glass of wine, get your notepad, get all your stuff, take notes. This is very good information from DMI. She's also my cousin. She's also an SF native. And I'm gonna hand it off to Damiaya. She's gonna give you guys an intro and we're gonna go ahead and get started.
Hi, everyone. My name is Damiaya Bryant, also known as DMI. I am a credit expert and educator. I am also an author of a budget planner that is currently on Amazon. My business name is DMI Financial Solutions. I've currently been in business for almost 3 years. My office is out of Vacaville. And I just wanted to get on here and touch bases about a little bit of financial literacy. A lot of people don't know how important it is to have credit, establish good credit, get rid of the bad credit, and build. The society we live in, it's next to impossible to not have good credit. You need credit for pretty much everything to survive day-to-day basis. Get a cell phone bill to live day-to-day. Have a business. Everything pretty much requires you to have good credit. So my goal is to just educate you all on the importance of credit and see if I can answer any questions and drop some tips for you guys and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, thanks, Damiaya, for the introduction.
No problem.
And here we are all family at the end of the day. This is Frisco. This is Black San Francisco. So welcome, everybody. We are SF Black Wall Street. We are all about building wealth in a San Francisco Black community. And this is part 3 of our wealth building series. So, you can always email us at SF Black Wall Street if you have any questions, any concerns, any ideas. Like I said before, we are all family. So this is very a casual event, but like I said, Damiaya is the expert. She will be dropping a lot of jewels. So go ahead and grab your notes because we all need good credit. If we trying to do what we truly setting out to do, which is to build the wealth in the Black community, we need good credit. So we're gonna go ahead and kick this off. And Damiaya, if you can just tell us what is credit repair?
Credit repair is defined as a method of disputing discrepancies that are on your credit report, whether it's your name, the spelling of your name, your address, something that's reporting on your credit. Most consumers doesn't know that there's over 80% of inaccurate accounts, personal information, all type of negative things that are on your credit report that can be hindering you from being able to purchase a car or purchase a home. So what we do as credit repair experts is we dissect your credit report and we look for negative accounts that's reporting. We look for inaccurate information and then we dispute that information with the 3 credit bureaus. The 3 credit bureaus are known as TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. We, as credit repair experts, go after the credit bureaus to have them provide us proof of the information that they are reporting on your credit report. So that's what we do as credit repair experts. Dissect and make sure that we are not having our rights violated as consumers.
And what exactly is a credit report?
A credit report is like a financial report card. Lenders report information, your payment history, to the credit bureaus, and then they create the report. So there's different types of credit. There's different types of credit that is reported on your credit report. And like I said before, there's tons of information that normally is reported inaccurately. And that's why our goal as experts is to kind of dissect it and make sure everything is 100% correct. And if not, then we use the credit repair laws to get the inaccurate information removed off your credit report. So like say, for instance, you have a credit card. When you make a credit card payment, or if you neglect to make your payment on your credit card, they report it to the credit bureaus and it goes on your credit report.
So I know just I'm gonna speak from a personal standpoint. Like sometimes like you talk to a lender and they tell you something that's totally different from what you see on your credit report. Can you talk about that or like what's
Well,
that?
that's because there's different companies that there's different companies that pull from different credit monitoring companies. So there's your FICO score and then you have Vantage score. Most lenders pull from your FICO score, which is a different credit scoring model than if you were to pull it yourself through Credit Karma. So you'll notice that if you search and you pull your own credit report through Credit Karma, your scores are going to be totally different than if you go to a car dealership or if you go to get a pre-approval for a home. They're going to be different because they pull from two different credit scoring models. And your FICO score is going to be your true and accurate score. The scores that we see on Credit Karma are they're inaccurate. They're just like a guesstimate. It's just more for educational purposes, so you can kind of have an idea of where your credit stands. But if you want to know your true and accurate scores, then you need to pull up your FICO scores.
So FICO scores is true across the board.
Correct.
Okay.
And all lenders will pull from your FICO score. No lender will pull from Credit Karma or a Vantage score. So some of the companies that we use for credit monitoring are like Identity IQ, annualcreditreport.com, Experian is FICO, Credit Karma is not FICO, it's Vantage. So that's the difference between the two. They're different scoring models.
Hmm. So, and then I noticed like, so sometimes you'll have some things on one credit report and then other things on another credit report. I mean, like on Experience versus Equifax or TransUnion. Can you speak a little bit on that?
Well, not all lenders report to all three credit bureaus. Some lenders strictly report to one or two versus all three. So you'll always have that on a credit report. It's just pretty much up to that lender who they report to. And that's just the same if you were to go to a car dealership and you run your credit. They don't run your credit from all three. Sometimes they just pull from one of the three bureaus.
So is it smart? Like just say you're looking for a car, you going to buy a house. Is it smart to do it all at one time or should you go to multiple dealers? Cause like I've seen
No,
sometimes
no.
like you'll have so many inquiries from one dealer or lender.
I tell my clients before my clients get any pre-approvals or anything, they have to run it past us just to make sure that they're making the best decision. But I always tell my clients and even people that just inquire about purchasing to the best thing is to go to a credit union, join a credit union, go through a credit union and apply directly for a pre-approval for a vehicle. When you shop through a dealership, they are looking for they're looking for you to have the best rate. So they're running your credit through tons of different banks to see if they can get you a pre-approval. The best solution for that is if you're housed with a credit union, to go directly through your credit union, because they're going to offer you the lowest interest rates. The credit unions normally offer lower rates than your typical banks. If you was to go like through Capital One or Chase, you'll have a higher interest rate, obviously depending on your credit. So I always send my clients directly through the credit union. They apply, they get the pre-approval. If it's $30,000-$40,000, they take that amount, they take the check that the credit union give them, and they go directly to any car dealership and get whatever car they want. Or if they purchasing from a private party, they can just shop around and only have one inquiry versus going to a car dealership and having their credit ran 20, 30 times to try to get them approved through a bank, when they can go directly to the source and get a pre-approval that way.
And so I have two questions. One, what credit unions do you suggest for people that's not necessarily because I know credit unions are usually through the city or through your job. Like what are some credit unions that people might can sign up for? And then also what does like having your credit ran that many times, how does that affect your credit score?
Well, let's touch bases on that first, and then I'll drop the credit unions that I recommend. Your inquiries only make up 10% of your score. It doesn't make a huge impact unless you're doing it often. I mean, I have some people who come to me for inquiry removals and have 100 or 200 inquiries because they're just being careless, and they go and they run their credit multiple times. Obviously, if you run it that many times, you're going to have a huge effect. But if you're only running it when you're auto shopping or home shopping and it's like within 30 days, then you take one hit. Although those inquiries are on there, it's not like it's dropping your score every single time the inquiry hits your credit report. But it is important that you do make sure that when you are applying for stuff that you're not just going crazy, like going, because some people will go to a dealership, apply, get denied, that's 10 inquiries. Then they'll go to another dealership, get denied, that's another 10 inquiries. So at the end of the day, it ended up being 20, 30, 40 inquiries because they're car shopping around. So if you're doing it like that, then yes, it's going to negatively affect you. But if you don't, if you just go one time, go to a credit union, like I said, I don't never tell my clients to go to a car dealership unless they already have a pre-approval from a bank. And if they don't, then we will set them up to be in position to have that score to where we know when we send them to a credit union, they're going to get approved. My top 5 credit unions, I would say, I have to start with Navy Federal for one. That's my go-to. They are so generous. So you have to have a family member that's in the military or a veteran, or live in a household with someone who has a membership through Navy Federal. It's for military families. They're very generous when it comes to applying for loans with them. My second top, I would say, is Patelco Credit Union. San Francisco Federal Credit Union is good. Travis Credit Union is good. And Redwood Credit Union is good. Those are like my top 5. And I mean, you can apply online. You don't have to physically go into the bank to do it. You can apply online. It's best to have a relationship with them. So it's best to just have a credit union account. And then even if you don't need to apply for something right at the moment, you still have that because they give discounts. So if a month or 2 months, you decide that you want to have get a credit union, a card through the credit union, you already have established history with them because you have a bank account with them. And typically they'll give you like 0.5 or 1% off whatever interest rate just for being a member of the credit union.
Cool. And I can speak to that. I'm actually a member of Navy Federal and San Francisco Federal Credit Union. I know when I went for my car, they literally just gave me a check and I was able to find, whatever car I wanted and negotiate that way. So I definitely recommend the credit union. So that's great info.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to, if you can explain to our people, why is good credit so important?
You can't live without good credit. Nowadays, to get back and forth to work, you need a reliable vehicle. So you need to have good credit so you can have a vehicle. To not be homeless, you have to have good credit because nowadays people won't rent to you unless you can prove that you have the credit and employment. So it's like pretty much anything you do, you need credit. You have to have, most people need credit cards to even survive, especially living in a pandemic. Some people lost jobs and then that's where you reflect to your credit because you can always fall back. If you have a credit card and need to pay a bill or two, you have that credit card available to do so. So it's so important to have good credit. And it's really important as us being a Black community to preach that importance to our kids because as children, my mother and my father didn't tell me the importance of credit. I learned on my own. I moved out when I was 18.
She didn't teach me.
I moved out when I was 18, got my first apartment. I'm 36. I haven't been back home. I've always been the one in my family to make sure that I have that establishment. I've, kept a good job. So I preach that now to my kids. My oldest is 12. I have him as an authorized user on some of my cards. So by the time he turned 18, he'll have A1 credit. And my kids hear me preach credit all day long. So they know little stuff about credit. So I definitely think it's important that we're kind of teaching each other bits and pieces of the importance of credit. And like I said, my kids, they hear me on live and hear me in my academy teaching my students the importance of it. So they know. And I preach it to them all the time that, you must pay your bills on time. just game them now so they can know. Because like I said, it's unfortunate that my parents didn't teach me, I taught myself. And that's pretty much how I kind of got into credit. I was looking to purchase a home a couple years back, and I was purchasing a home with my ex-husband, and he had things on his credit. I had amazing credit. So because we were trying to purchase together, there was some things that was on his credit, and um I'm kind of touching on this because Kenya, let me thank you, Kenya. Kenya is the reason why.
Yeah, because Kenya want to be behind the scenes, but I'm gonna call her out.
Kenya is the reason why I am where I am today. And I thank her because I really, really, really had no intentions on fixing credit. It was, I mean, I've had it, but I had no intentions on doing it. And I called her one day and I was talking to her, and she was like, "Cousin, why don't you start a credit repair business?" The reason why she said that was because I had started fixing my ex-husband's credit. I got him like a really high score, like 700s, but I would post my results on my Facebook page. And then it almost became an addiction to me. Once I was able to see the results that I was getting, I started just asking people, "Can I fix your credit? Can I fix your credit?" So I was having a conversation with her, and she was, "Cousin, why don't you start a credit repair business?" At the time, I was full-time employed with Kaiser. And I was like, "Girl, I got 2 kids, a husband. I work all day. I'll have no time to start no credit repair business." Literally like 24 hours after she said that, it was like I prayed on it, a little light went off, and I went online. I joined a bunch of Facebook credit repair groups. I went on Fiverr. I ordered me a logo for $10. I went on GoDaddy, created my domain, created me a website, and after that, I was a credit repair expert. I made myself an expert. I didn't care. I was, of course, I'm teaching myself little bits and pieces, but if I did not have her to tell me, because she seen the vision in me that I didn't see. So for her to be like, "Cousin, start this credit repair journey," it literally took off. And 3 years later, I have over 400 clients. I'm currently working on launching my own credit repair software with 3 other ladies from other states, and we are the first African American group of women to start to own a credit repair software. So Kenya, I thank you. I thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm getting teary-eyed over here because if it wasn't for you, I really wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I just want to thank you.
A round of applause to that. Like,
yeah, I just want to thank you for you encouraging me and you pushing me to do something that I was able to walk away from my job of 8 years as a medical assistant at Kaiser. And that's big because a lot of people feel like, when you have good jobs that you can't, that you have to stay there forever. That's not, I'm a living testimony. You have to want to do it.
Testimony too. Like a lot of y'all that do know me,
do it.
Like I share a lot of similarities in that story, in that story, in that testimony. So we have to encourage each other and be there for each other.
Definitely.
And that is how we build out our Black communities. We can do it. Like we have to care for each other. We have to support each other. And we will at SF Black Wall Street continue to create space to do just that. And that's what this is.
Yes.
So, yes, definitely be inspired by this. Yes, she's teaching credit, but she also dropping a lot of jewels right now, y'all. Be inspired.
Do not let nobody stop you. I tell this to my students. I also have an academy that I teach people how to start up their own credit repair business. And I tell my students this all the time. I have 15 students that's enrolled, and I literally just told them this story last week. It don't matter who you surround yourself with. If they are not in the same space as you, get rid of them. One of my students actually told me that one of her friends, was kind of downplaying her enrolling into my academy because it was my first course. And she goes, one of my friends told me not to take your course because it's your first course. I said, "Let me tell you something. You lucky you took my first course. I charged y'all $697 for this first course, but I guarantee you my second course is going to be double that." I said, "Because you are going to get so much valuable information from this course." All my students are already starting their own businesses. Like, we are only 3 weeks. I've already birthed them to become millionaires because I've already gave them the game to get them started. They have their LLC. Some of them have their business names established. Their websites is getting built, their logos is getting designed, and we already only into week 3. So I feel like with this first group of students that I have, that I'm really going to birth them and treat them like my babies, because I want them to really be able to educate other people. And then eventually, like I told them, y'all will be in my shoes and y'all will be able to start your own academies and teach people. And we just going to keep building and building and building. But it's important that you surround yourself around like-minded people, because if you have those friends that are trying to steer you away from your passion or your dreams, then it's easy for you to fall into that mindset. So it's important that when you build and when you trying to grow as a person, that you are surrounded by people who inspire you and want to see you do better, not people that want to hate and, throw shade on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, it's true. Because a lot of people just won't understand. Like, everybody's not entrepreneurs. Everybody just don't get it. Some people just got the mindset to work a 9 to 5, and ain't nothing wrong with that
At all.
But if you headed in a different direction, surround yourself with people. And if you don't got them people, just keep building, because they'll come.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember when Damiaya was starting, she would send
Girl,
me.
I was charging $75 to fix people credit.
Yeah.
And I always, was telling them this story. I said, when I first got started, believe it or not, I think I had just raised my prices, and I had a client who came to me. He paid $150. He had an apartment on his credit. His apartment caught on fire, and he owed $257,000. He came to me. I fixed his credit, and that first month, I was able to get that $257,000 debt removed. He paid me $150.
Yeah, I hear that? $257,000. Wow. Like, I'm
$1,000.
like, that's
Yes. And I was able to get that off. And I mean, that man was so happy. He was so excited, like, couldn't believe it, and it's just like, when you have a passion and you love what you do, it don't matter. I'm very aggressive with the credit bureaus. I don't care. Like,
Maurice, hold on. Our brother Maurice said, Damiaya, your story is healing. You are inspiration.
oh, thank you.
Let's throw it up. Like, this is all about us, y'all.
Thank
like,
you.
We gotta build each other up. We gotta tell our stories, and we have to provide a platform to do that. So when we coming together, this is what we doing, y'all. It's not formal. This is casual. We family. Like, we talking, and we gonna figure this out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching Damiaya. Like, this is my cousin, but I also been watching the journey. Like, I be texting her like, "Hey, cousin, my daughter is finna turn 18. What do I need to do?" Like,
And I don't mind sharing. I don't mind giving the information. I mean, I don't mind holding your hand, walking you through it, because, like I said, I've always been the one in my family to have great credit. So I know how important it is.
And there are a lot of our parents, they didn't know. Like, they didn't know. So it's up to us. We know. Like, information now is so accessible. Like, it wasn't necessarily accessible like that back then, but we are a different generation. It's like at our fingertips. Like, so we not only gotta help ourselves, help our kids, but let's help our parents too. Let's put them on. Like, we can do that. We can do exactly that.
My mom is actually my operation manager. So she's learning a lot about credit now, because she's my manager. She runs my business. So, I'm teaching her as I'm paying her, but as I'm teaching her, it kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, it's definitely important to learn it, and not only teach it to your children, but teach it to your brothers and sisters, teach it to your mothers, your grandparents, whoever it is that's around you that need the knowledge, teach it to them. It's really simple. It's simple.
Game is to be sold, not told. We changing that. Like, we passing down this knowledge. Yeah, sign up, because investing yourself is worth it. Like, but at the same time, you got free seminars like this, and we will give y'all the opportunity to sign up with Damiaya to get more one-on-one and get exactly what you need. But at the same time, we not holding information to ourselves. That's a disservice to all of us. It's to hold all these fruits and all these jewels just to us. Like, no, we not rocking like that. So we're gonna keep sharing this information, and let's build up our communities. And so we gonna double back, because I know, like, I'm spilling the beans. Damiaya got 2 houses. How did you do it? How did you do it? Because that's what we about. We want to buy houses. We want businesses. We want all this stuff. So I know you couldn't do all this without the credit, without different things.
I had to have the clientele, first of all, for me to be able to afford to purchase anything in California. So like I said, I have
Hold on. Keyword California. She did it too. So it might seem impossible, but it's ways. Like,
yeah, you can definitely do it. Like I said, I currently have over 400 clients and growing. So it was important that I put myself on payroll. First of all, as an entrepreneur, a lot of people, we tend to use our money that we make in business. But for me, I wanted to make sure my business was set up properly. So I had to put myself on payroll.
what payroll
Um,
do you use? Like,
um, I have a CPA. I don't know. She does all of my stuff. I don't know what company she uses. I just get the checks and sign them and distribute them to my employees. So
I use
I
so in Square just so y'all know if y'all looking for that type of stuff. But keep going.
yeah. So I set myself up on payroll because in order to purchase a home, you have to have at least 2 years of tax returns. Like I said previously, when I purchased my first home, I still was employed with Kaiser. Um, and it's crazy because let me double back a little bit. When I purchased my first home, I was full time with Kaiser, but I had my credit repair business for maybe about 5 months. But I was so tired of working full time, I wanted to go part time. So literally, I closed on my house, and a week after I closed on my house, I got called for a part-time position. So I was able to go from full-time to part-time. I really only needed the full-time hours because I was trying to be eligible for me to qualify for the home. But once I was able to close and I got offered a part-time position, I went part-time. And then eventually, after being part-time for a couple months, I was able to quit. Um, the numbers just wasn't making sense to me, and that was how I was able to walk away from Kaiser. But the first thing you have to do is make sure that you have the credit. You have to have the employment history, at least 2 years. It doesn't matter if it's 2 years of tax returns, I'll say. And they look for you being on in the same position or within the same industry. So say if you do construction, yeah, you may be at one job site and then go to another job site. That's okay, as long as you're still in construction. So I was able to purchase my first home, and then I went through a divorce. I actually sold my first home, and then I just purchased my second home. My second home, I had built from the ground up. I knew what I wanted, and I knew what I wanted for my kids. And this isn't my dream home, but I love it. Um, I was able to, do it on my own. And I'm just grateful that I was set up in position to be able to purchase a brand new home built from the ground up in a pandemic, alone by myself for my children, so my kids will have, a place to call home. Even though I had my first home was an older home, but this is a newer home. It's in a brand new development. So it's just a different feeling. But if I was able to do it, like I said, I'm 36. Everybody on this call can do it here in California. You don't have to move out of state to do it. You just have to put yourself in a position to be able to do it. And you have to start with having good credit. Without the credit, you're not going to get approved for nothing. You need the credit to get the low interest rate so you can be able to afford the house that you want to have built or purchase.
So I'm gonna just speak for me. I don't know about y'all. I don't own a house yet. I'm trying to.
You
So
will soon.
yeah, I will. I feel it coming. So are we basing? So when they look for your income, did they look at your job, your Kaiser income, or your self-employed income?
My first house, they looked at Kaiser because I had just started my business. So I didn't have 2 years of tax returns. This house, they use my income from my business. And that's why I said it's important that when you are an entrepreneur that you set yourself up on payroll. But because I pay myself, I was able to just give them my Schedule C along with my pay stubs so that I can get the qualification for me to be able to purchase.
That's good stuff to know. So yeah, you want to drop any realtors, any lenders? Like, you want to plug anybody?
I do. I have a really good lender that I work with. Her name is Kahila. She's out of Walnut Creek. She works for Walnut Creek Funding. and I can provide you guys with her information if any of you guys are interested. And then I have three realtors that I work with that I highly recommend. One is out of South San Francisco. I have one, her name is Gillian. I have one that is out of Vallejo. Two out of Solano County. One, her name is Rose, and then I have another one by the name of Latoya. I kind of work with all three. They send me clients all the time, fix the client's credit, and I send them back to the realtors. So I have a really good relationship with all three. So just depending on your personal preference, everyone has different preferences when it comes to a realtor. Some people look for how long they've been in real estate. Some people look for their ethnicity. Some people look for how many homes they've sold. It's just really your personal preference. So I can definitely provide you guys with that information for those that are interested. And yeah, what else you got for me?
So how we gonna get to the goods now, y'all? How do we get, like, me personally, how do I get into the 700 club? Like, that's what we all for.
The biggest thing you want to do is pay your bills on time. People don't realize that when you have late payments, it drop your credit score anywhere from 50 to 100 points. So it's important that you're making your payments on time. It's great to start establishing credit at an early age. I started when I was 18. As soon as I started, I was 18. Believe it or not, I have over $100,000 worth of credit cards, but I have my mindset trained, so I know not to use my cards. I have a 819 score right now.
Say that again.
I'm at an 819. Knocking at 850.
Y'all not getting game from just anybody. You got an 819. Like,
I'm knocking at 850, and I keep saying when I get there, I'm gonna cry. But it takes time. For
anybody one, in the 800 clubs, like, go in the chat and let us know you here. Like,
you have to establish the credit for a while. You have, like I said, my first credit card was a Target card when I was 18 years old, and I still have that card. So it's important that you start establishing the more credit history you have, the longer your history is, the higher your score is. So as long as you have that history, then it keeps you in good standing. It keeps you in good standing. So it's definitely important to start establishing at a young age. And that's why I said it's even good to add your kids as authorized users. So that way, once they hit 18, they already have a good score. Then you just set them up in position and make sure that you keep pushing to them the importance of it and how to establish it and keep it, not mess it up. Yep. Another thing, you want to keep your available credits under 30%, your utilization. So a lot of the times we get credit cards, people tend to max them out. Not a good idea. 30% of your score is made up by how often you're utilizing it. So if you're utilizing your if you're utilizing your credit cards too often, it's putting you in a category with people with negative credit. So it's going to automatically cut you from receiving all the points you should be receiving monthly from the credit bureaus, because it's now putting you in a category with people that uses their credit cards too much. And then that's also a red flag to creditors. If you go to apply for something and they see that your credit cards is maxed out, they're gonna be like, well, why would I want to give her credit if she already have 5 credit cards and all of them is maxed out? All she gonna do is max. They don't like to see that. So I personally think it's best to keep your utilization under 10%, but 30 is okay. 30 is the minimum. But for myself personally, I keep mine under 10%.
Okay, so y'all got that. Keep it under 10. Like, we all trying to get in that. We all trying to be like Damiaya, pretty much. Like,
and then another thing is checking your credit report often. Once or twice a year, just look and see if there's things that's on your credit that shouldn't be there. A lot of the times people fall victims of identity theft, and they have stuff that on their credit that's hindering them from being able to go and do things, and they don't even know it. So whether it's a telephone number, an old job, address, believe it or not, removing that stuff will get you a couple points. May not be no 30, 40 points, but you may get 2 points. That 2 points can be what you need to get that qualification for the house.
Okay, so I have a question in the comments. How do you get past a 770? This is very specific. So.
Well, like I said, keeping your credit card utilization down, that's where you get most of your points from. So keeping your credit card utilization down, making sure that you paying on time, making sure that you have enough credit. Sometimes people have just one or two things on their credit. That'll help your scores, but you want to make sure that you have a mixture of revolving and installment credit. And let me kind of tell what that is, because people probably not, really sure the difference between the two. Revolving credit is when you have like a credit card. So every single month, the payments is going to be different based upon how much you owe. Installment loans are like a car loan where every single month your payments are exactly the same. So that's the difference between the two. It's great to have a mixture of both on your credit. So it really just depends on what you have on there. You can have student loans that are in default that can be holding your scores back. You can have negative accounts that's on your credit that's holding your scores back. Let me drop a gem on y'all real quick. Stop paying collection accounts. A lot of people.
Oh, stop.
Stop paying. That's where credit experts come in at. Because a lot of the times, say you have a Sprint account, you stop paying Sprint, and they send it to collections. They've already sold that debt to the collection agency, so they got some of their money. What happens is the collection agency, or they have now bought the debt from Sprint. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to collect on Sprint behalf. They want to come after you, so they calling you, they sending you letters and harassing you to try to get their money, because now they own the debt because they purchased it from Sprint. Well, when you pay that debt collector, it doesn't remove it off your credit. You have to specifically ask for a pay to delete. So if I pay this debt, if I pay this Sprint account, are y'all going to delete it off my credit? When you pay a collection, it just reports. They just send a letter to the credit bureaus and say, hey, Tiffany paid this Sprint account off. But that Sprint account is still.
Did y'all see that meme? Like, I don't care how much money I get, I'm never paying Sprint.
So that account is still going to show up on your credit. It's just going to now be on your credit as it's going to go from derogatory to paying, but that is still going to be negatively impacting your scores because it's still a negative count. So I tell my clients not to. That's where we come in at. So we see that you have Sprint on your credit report. We send a letter to the collection agency and we ask them, hey, prove to us that you're even able to collect on this debt in the state of California. Not only do we hit the collection agency, but we also hit the credit bureaus. Hey, prove to us that this information that y'all reported on this credit report is 100% correct. So it's a double hit. So we hitting the collection agencies and the credit bureaus. So it's like, why pay this debt off when you can pay a credit expert for us to remove it completely off your credit? You're going to pay them and settle with them, and it's still going to be on your credit. What's the point?
Okay, so
now I'm not saying that they don't owe that debt still. They still owe the debt, but it's up to you. If it ain't on my credit report, I ain't paying it. That's the point.
So you're saying don't pay it, consult with a credit expert and let the experts handle it.
Same. It doesn't matter if it's a collection and charge off, repossession. It doesn't matter what it is. Any type of account. We want to hold the credit bureaus accountable for the information that they're reporting. If they're not reporting the information 100% correctly across all three boards of the bureaus, then we want that information deleted. And you have that right as a consumer.
Okay, so we're going to move to some questions that's in the comments. It says, is it okay to have cards sitting with zero balance, or do you recommend using them to keep them active and pay the entire balance off monthly?
I don't recommend paying the entire balance off. I definitely always recommend you leaving something. That's how the banks and lenders make their money. Whether it's $2, whether it's $5, it doesn't have to be a large amount. I would say keep it low, very low. But that's how they make their money off interest rates, so the interest of the balance. So for sure, pay it down. And you want to definitely keep your cards active. I say twice a year, as long as you use them. Otherwise, that sometimes companies will close them. Especially, I've noticed with this pandemic, a lot of companies aren't doing credit line increases. Some companies are still doing it, but some companies aren't. Some companies are like reevaluating people credit file and dropping their limits. So it's important that if you stay, if you remain active and use that card, then those companies see that, then they'll keep your accounts open.
Okay, and then here's another one. It says, how many credit cards do you advise people to have? And like, what type of credit cards? Because I know, like, I read that you need to have like a retail card, a gas card, like.
Yeah, that's just a mixture of revolving credit. There is no minimum or no maximum amount of credit cards that you can have. I say start low And then once you know the importance of having a credit card, then you can get more and more credit cards, but you have to be responsible first before you get too many credit cards. Like I said before, I have over $100,000 worth of credit cards, but I'm responsible with my cards. I keep them with very low balances, and I know how to maintain my limits and maintain my balances, so I know not to go over a certain utilization. But if you have somebody who doesn't know that, or who does not know how to manage their credit cards, they're going to get those credit cards, they're going to max them out, and then they're going to not pay them, and then they're going to be coming to me for me to fix it or try to get it off. So it's important that you start with a low amount, 1 or 2 credit cards, and then once you know how to really manage them, then you can start applying and getting more and more cards.
So it doesn't matter necessarily how many you have. It's just like more
Oh no. I have probably like 24, 25 credit cards.
I only got like 3. I gotta step my game up.
And I mean, some type of credit cards, like I advise you, if you don't have any credit cards, to start with a secure credit card. I have a contract with First Progress Bank, so I do offer secure credit cards to my clients. And I can provide you guys with that information. If you've never had a credit card, you start with a secure credit card first. A secure credit card is where you put your money up front, and the banks want to see that you can be responsible with your own money first before they lend you their money. That's the difference between a secured and an unsecured card. Unsecured is when the bank funds you their money, and a secured is when you put your own money up front first. Start there. Make your payments on time. I tell my clients, use them for small purchases. Get a Starbucks, get some gas, use it for something that's like $20, $30, pay it off. Build it over a course of 6 months. Once you continue building it, make your payments on time, keep your balances low. Then then a bank see that, oh, she's had this card for 6 months, always paid on time. Then you apply for an unsecured card. Some banks I would recommend for unsecured card was to like startup card would be probably Capital One. Citibank is another good one. You want to start with like those banks first before you try to go like to American Express or get like a high limit Discover card or anything. Retail stores are always great. Macy's, Target, gas cards, all those things will help you start, building your credit.
Okay, here's another question that's in the comments. It says, what about medical bills that have went into collections?
Those can be removed. We can get those removed. There is something called a HIPAA law where you have to consent and sign, and a lot of the times people don't realize that they are waiving their rights when they go to the hospital, because obviously when you're in the hospital you don't really care about the billing part is less important. So a lot of the times we just sign our name on stuff and don't really read the fine print, and sometimes you are waiving your right to where you are waiving your right against the HIPAA law, where you are giving them you're giving them the ability to sell your information to a collection agency if you fail to pay them. So it is important that we are paying attention to stuff like that, but a lot of the times, like I said, we don't. We in people be in the hospital for different reasons, and the least of your concern is worrying about debt or whatever you'll have to pay. So medical bills can be removed. We use the same dispute tactics. We send them letter to the collection agency, and we send a letter to the credit bureaus, and we have them validate the debt and prove to us that the information they have is reporting. So it would be no different for medical as if we were doing a credit card or a phone bill or something like that.
So you saying consult with an expert, don't dispute it or try to pay it down, or
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here's another one. It says, I see most credit cards have about 24% APR. If you have had that card for years, you can get the APR lowered. Can you help do that?
That's possible. Some companies will. Some companies will lower your APR is based off your credit score. Obviously, the higher your scores are, the lower your APR is. That goes for if you purchase in a car, purchase in a home, getting a credit card. It doesn't matter. Anytime you run your credit for the bank to lend you something, they're going to charge you interest. That interest is all based on what your scores are. So it's important that if you have a strong credit score, that you'll have a lower interest. So when it comes to credit cards, yes, they charge interest. That's why it's great to pay your bills before that. It's great to have low balances. That way you pay your stuff off ahead of time and you don't have to worry about that high interest. Some credit card companies will lower your interest rate if you have been with them for a long time, but some companies won't. Most companies won't. There's a few out there that will. I don't know off the top of my head which banks do. But that kind of, let me touch bases on like your credit card statements and due date, because I know me and Tiff discussed that. I was going to touch bases on that a little bit. So the statement date is the date that the bill is generated. Your due date is the date that your payment is due, which is normally 20 to 25 days after your statement date. So you owe on a credit card, they generate that statement bill, and then they send send that bill to you. That date, that's your statement date, is the date that they created that bill. You have 20 to 25 days after that for you to make your payment. It's best that you try to pay your credit card closer to the statement date versus the due date. So if they send you that statement, don't wait till 2 days before it's due to pay it. Pay it ahead of time.
Say that again, because that's like a credit hack that a lot of people don't know. So you see the due date, but this is a credit hack. So I want y'all to really pay attention to that. So if you can just say that again.
Make sure that when you get the statement, you pay it immediately. You don't wait till right before the due date. One of the reasons why you don't want to do that is because a lot of the times you have to allow time for the statements to get, if you're paying it through the mail, you have to wait for the mail to process, and it can cause you to be late. And a lot of us slack at that because we wait till we know something is due on the 20th. We wait till the 18th to pay it. That's not good. It's best to pay it closer to your statement date when you first got that bill. So if you got that email on the 10th and you know your credit card is due on the 25th, don't wait till the 23rd to pay it. Pay it when you get that email or when you get that statement in the mail. For one, you don't want to forget. You don't want to have a late payment. It'll drop your score. And then two, it's just important that it's due in a system before that due date, because that's how we incur late fees, or even forget to pay it and then it goes to collection. There's several different reasons why you shouldn't. It's just important that you do it before the due date and not wait.
Okay, keep y'all questions coming in the comments. We almost at time, but we want to answer as many questions as we can. So go ahead and drop them now.
Well, if nobody have questions, I have a few tips.
Yep, go ahead.
Definitely, if you are in the financial space to pay extra on your bills, it's great to pay extras on, like, say if you have a car loan, you pay extra on the principal. Or one tip that I always give my clients is get a notepad, write down all of the credit cards that you currently have, call the banks for every last one of those credit cards, make a list of what your interest rates are, make a list of when your due date is, your statement date, your available balance, your limit, just like the important details of each one of those cards. Ask them for a credit limit increase. A credit limit increase will help your utilization. So say if you have a $500 credit card, you have $400, and you ask them for a credit line increase and they increase it to 1,000. Well, now you don't have only 10% available. You have more than 10% available.
But when should you ask for that credit limit increase? At what point do you ask for it?
I say at least if you've had the card for at least a year, because you've now established history with them. So now they know who you are. They can look in your file and they can say, oh, she's been having this Capital One credit card with us for a year, never been late. Yeah, sure, let's increase her credit card. We want her to spend more money with us, so we're going to increase her card.
And so does paying it early, does that like help with lowering what you pay in interest rates and stuff like that?
It does help with your the interest rate is going to be the same. You still have to pay interest on it unless you pay it completely to a zero balance. So if you bring something that you owe on to a zero balance, then no, you don't have to pay that interest rate. And that's why I was saying for my cards, I don't like to have to pay the bank for me to use my stuff. So when I get a statement in the mail, I bring my balance down. I leave maybe $5 on there. but I don't want to pay them every month. I don't want to every single month have to pay them 20% interest for me to use my card. I'm gonna use it, pay it off, use it, pay it off. Another good tip is if you have a credit card that collects points. My Navy Federal is a rewards card. I use it to pay my bills sometime, and then I turn around and I just transfer the money from my account onto my credit card. Because if you have a $3,000 bill and you use your card that has rewards, you spending $3,000 on that card, so you getting whatever the reward, whatever you're rewarded. And then I turn around and then I just transfer the money right onto that credit card. Once it hit the card, I just take the money from out of my savings or checking account and put it right back on the card. So now it's bringing my card to a zero balance, but I have 3,000 points that I just gained from me paying a bill.
Super dope. So Kenya, she's another co-founder SF Black Wall Street. They look at the payment date when getting approved for a home loan too. So that's good info. That's what she said. So yep. Yeah, I don't know if you can speak on that at all, but that's what Kenya said. Let's see what else we got. How much does your credit score affect your rates when purchasing a home?
When you're shopping for a home, they call it mortgage shopping. As long as you, like, if you get a pre-approval, it doesn't matter if you go to 10 different lenders within 30 days, it only hit once. So when I just was home shopping, my score, I went with just one lender, but it dropped my score like 3 or 4 points.
So you want to get pre-approved first, or like?
Yes, you have to get a pre-approval first. So when you're interested in purchasing a home, you go through the pre-approval stage first. That's where they will take a look at your credit report and they say whether or not they'll give you a loan, that it's possible for you to get a loan. It's for them. It's kind of like them not completely approving it, but just kind of pre-approving it. And they'll let you know, hey, you have X, Y, and Z on your credit that needs to be, on your credit that needs to be removed. Or, you need to do this in order for you to get that pre-approval. Or if you have great credit, they'll just say, hey, you've been pre-approved for 500, 600,000. Now go home shop. And then what you do at that point is you contact the realtor. You go searching for whatever home it is that you want. But throughout that process, they're still checking to make sure that that you still have the credit. Some people will get in a space where they'll start going through the pre-approval process, and then they'll run their credit and they'll get a car or something, and it affects their debt to income ratio. So now you just went and got this $500 car note, and so now the lenders have to reevaluate you to see if you qualify. So a lot of the times people mess up and do that. Or even if it's getting a late payment on their credit. When you're going through that pre-approval process, that home buying process, once you get that pre-approval, it's best not to do nothing that can jeopardize you from being able to purchase. Because one little thing, it can be the smallest thing, something pop up, anything. They checking up into the date you close.
So can you talk a little bit about debt to income ratio?
Debt to income ratio is basically they check to see how much your income, your annual income is, and then how much debt you have. So they base whether they'll give you a pre-approval based on how much your debt to income ratio is. If you have more debt than income, how can you pay your bills? So the lower your debt is to whatever your income is, the best it is for you to get that approval.
Okay. So we have another question. This is from our brother, Maurice. He says that he has a student loan. Is it worth to negotiate a settlement for half of the balance? Will it help my credit score if it just says settled on my credit report? He has Navient.
It is best to settle with them. The thing is with student loans is they don't disappear. We can get them off your credit. It's off on paper, but if it's a government loan, you still owe. So they still can come after you and take your taxes, or they still can try to sue you for the debt that you owe them. So it's best if you're in position to settle those student loans and pay it off, because they're really not going anywhere unless you do like one of those loan forgiveness programs, which there's so many different criteria to the loan forgiveness programs and stuff like that. You have to, some people it's based off their income. Some companies it's based off if the school is still open. They have different criteria and stuff like that. So if is it a closed account? Can you ask them if it's a closed account?
Is it a close account? Is the account closed? Yeah, a lot of us got student loans. Like, until he comment in the chat, it's open. He said it's open.
It's open. So if it's open, I would say just continue paying, making the pay, like the minimum payments on it. Or if you don't want to keep, because they do charge you interest too when you paying on student loan, then yes, you can call Navient and see if you can set up something with them to where you can settle and pay a portion of it to be done with the loan. Sometimes they'll do it. Every situation with student loans is different.
So what about deferments and forbearance? Because I'm the queen. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
You still I'm against that, me personally, because you still have to pay that interest. They just still adding that interest on, so you're gonna be paying on those loans forever.
Is forever not a good thing?
Do you want to be paying that interest forever? That's another thing. When it's time to purchase your house, that's part of your debt to income ratio. If you have student loans and you have $100,000-$200,000 worth of student loans, and your payments is $500-$600 a month, they calculate that into your debt to income ratio. So that can disqualify you from being able to qualify for a home loan. So it's important that you contact Department of Education and see what your options are. Everybody's situation is different. So you just would have to contact them to see what options are out there for you. I know a lot of companies are like having students not pay their student loans because of COVID, but that's only good to a certain degree. Like I said, if you're trying to purchase, they don't care if it's on hold right now.
We all trying to purchase, so let's pay off student debts, guys. Okay, here's another one. It said, is it good to close credit card accounts that you don't use?
Never. Cut the cards up, don't use them, but don't close them. Closing your credit cards will definitely drop your scores. Definitely drop your scores. So that's the last thing you want to do. Don't use the card. I've had clients do it and not even realize it. You get mad and you on the phone with a credit card company, you be like, just close my account. And then there you go. Your scores drop 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 points. And then you call and crying. Is there anything I can do? Can I call them back and reopen it? No, you cannot. You told them to close it. They closed it. And now your scores dropped.
Wow. So don't close your accounts.
Definitely keep them open.
Keep them open. Here's another one. How do you feel about a goodwill adjustment to remove late payments from my credit card company?
Goodwills are great. I had someone who recently reached out to me. He had a late payment on his Target credit card. And I told him, a few tips to contact Target, see if they'll take it off. And he did it. And I didn't even charge him for this information. I gave it to him for free. And he's been shouting me out once or twice a week because he just like so happy that I was able to share those few tips with him, and he was able to get the late payments removed. Now he in the 700s. He was in the 600s at first. Now he's in the mid 700s, and he just was excited that I gave him those tips. Goodwills is great. I even go as far as emailing the CEO of companies. That's how serious I be about late payments. So yeah, they definitely will help.
So I have another one. They're asking more about the credit repair services. So Damiaya, if you want to go ahead and drop the credit repair info in the comments so that people can reach out to you and you can talk more one-on-one about the services that you offer. We can do that.
I'll put my website here, everything. I'll put my website and my Instagram.
And then we'll move to the next one is, how do you determine deferred student loans into the DTI ratio when technically there is no payment?
Hold on 1 second, Tiff.
Okay. So keep y'all stuff coming. We finna get to this bag, y'all. We gonna figure this out.
Okay, ask me that question one more time. I'm sorry, that was my son calling. He has to get picked up from tutoring. My person that was supposed to pick him up didn't pick him up. So
a lot of us are mothers, so yes. How do we determine deferred student loans into the DTI ratio when technically there is no payment?
They still, it's just basically when you put it on deferment, it's just putting it on hold. It doesn't matter if it's on hold at that time. They're still going to they're still going to go after, check after your overall debt. It's still going to be included because it's going to come up on your credit report. So even if it's in deferment, it doesn't matter. The lenders are still going to include that in the qualification process to still see if you qualify. Because at the end of the day, if we take it out of deferment, then you now have to make those payments. So it doesn't matter if it's deferred or not deferred. They still, they still feel like, oh, well, we know this person still owe this debt, so we still going to include it. And I did put my my website, also my Instagram name there, so you guys can follow me. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to inbox me. I do have a social media manager who runs my Instagram page, so it may not be me directly. But if you send a message and just say, hey, I was, on a Black SF Wall Street webinar or whatever, then she'll let me know and I'll reach out to you.
Yep. So we just gonna go ahead and tell y'all. We didn't even tell her, but this is our credit specialist. So definitely hit us up. Like I said, we all about the Black wealth building, very specifically San Francisco. All our cousins in the East Bay, y'all want to tap in? Y'all all are welcome. We trying to build this out and help our people be more financial sufficient for our families, not only for us, but for our kids, for everybody. We are at time. So definitely hit Damiaya up. She put her info in the comments. If y'all got any more questions, go ahead and drop them now. And like I said, you can always email us at SF Black Wall Street, comment, inbox us. We are very accessible. One of our goals is to get Black people into homes. So yes.
Before I get off, if you guys are interested, I do have a free ebook that you guys can go onto my Instagram, and in the there's a link. You guys can download a free ebook. It has more information on credit repair. Like credit tips and stuff like that. It's free, so feel free to follow me on Instagram and click the link in my bio, and you guys can download the ebook. And then anyone that's interested in my services, if you guys mention SF Black Wall Street, before I say,
she finna plug
before I'm gonna give y'all a week. So if anybody interested in my services, I'll take 25% off.
That's huge. Like I'll say,
but you have to mention that you were on this call. Look, let me look and see who was all on this call. You have to mention that you were on the call, okay?
Invest in yourself. It's worth it. Like, and that's financially, like.
And then in January November I'll be opening up the wait list, but January I'll be teaching my next my second lesson. So if anyone is interested in starting up their own credit repair business, they can definitely reach out to me and I can put you on the wait list. I have about 5 people already there. My next course, I probably will only be allowing between 15 and 20 students. So if it's something that you may be interested in, reach out to me and I definitely will put you on that list. And is it good to use balance transfer to pay off? Yes, it's okay to use balance transfer. So if you
hold on, because I don't even know what that is. Like, can you explain that a little bit?
A balance transfer is when you have a balance on a credit card. So say if you have a $100 balance that you owe on a credit card and your credit card has 25% interest rate. If you have another credit card where you have a lower interest, you can just do a balance transfer. So you can transfer that balance from one card to another.
I never knew you could do that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap up, guys. I have to go get my son from tutoring. If anybody has questions, please feel free to inbox me. I'm on Facebook under DMI Bryant. I'm on Instagram. So yeah, just reach out to me and y'all stuck with me now, Tiff.
Y'all stuck with me. bad credit, like repping when we rep. Like, come on, y'all. We gotta do this. Like, so we all on deck. Y'all got our info. It's in the comments. Y'all can always hit us up, sfblack@gmail.com. DM us anything y'all need. We got y'all. Like, we all family. Yeah, we here for y'all. So definitely sign up. If y'all want to get in the credit business, we need more people on deck. Definitely reach out to Damiaya. And yeah.
Thank you guys. Good night.
Guys, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. Gotti, you didn't even say nothing tonight. We gonna unmute you. We out.